From his controversial play to his lazy offense, James Harden has been a polarizing figure in the NBA since he joined as the first pick. And many players, coaches, and analysts alike do not like the former MVP. For instance, his teammates back in 2015 really had enough of him. Yeah, things got so bad that the Rockets, having a great team, were off to only a 4-7 start to the season, which led to the players-only meeting back in early November 2015. While it was a closed-door conference, lots of things about the meeting were later revealed, and apparently it took place only because Harden's play and aloofness had been costing the Rockets big time. Harden was still posting more than 27 points per game, but he was shooting under 38% from the field and a further low of 26.2% from beyond the arc, not to mention his really high turnover average, which still remains a problem.
Step back three, good! Right between the eyes!
And the non-existent defense was also pointed out, and many believe this is why he hasn't been able to guide his team to a championship. However, even fans in the NBA clearly don't like Harden, be it the fans of the team Harden's on or opposition ones. Yeah, Harden is disliked by a lot of the Rockets faithful because of many reasons. For the fans that pay good money to see their team in action, you can understand why the Houston fans finally had enough of Harden. In fact, even though they've been the worst team in the entire league since Harden left, many still don't want him back, despite the rumors. Maybe hate is a strong word, but Harden's arrogance to think that he'll just outscore the opposition in every game is something that they didn't agree with. This would often lead to a frustrated display from the Rockets, where they'd score quite a bit, but due to a lack of defensive chops from Harden, they would end up losing. Fans hate him for a perceived lack of effort, but players disliked Harden because he just wasn't doing what was required on the court. Yes, scoring's great, but it's not the only facet of the game. You've got to do the dirty work too. And how do you expect your teammates to be inspired when the leader isn't doing anything either? But how does this lack of effort justify the hatred that Harden gets from opposition players? Well, it's not a lack of effort that leads to opposition players hating on Harden. It's actually the way he plays the game.
Interested. There's been a lot of contact on James.
Now, Harden's the biggest benefactor of the NBA's flawed system of fouls.
Harden's got a corner man in Chris Paul, but he's tied up, and a whistle prevented the pass. Hart with the foul.
And he knows exactly how to use it for his personal gain. Unfortunately, it doesn't help his team because, well, he doesn't do the dirty work. And it's also frustrating for the opposition, as many believe that he's more concerned about drawing fouls than scoring.
In the third quarter right now. Matthews got to be careful.
Which is a shame because he's a fantastic overall player, and ultimately, given the fact that he's a brilliant free throw shooter, Harden always ends the game with brilliant numbers. Ideally, it'd be better to change the system, but it's obvious that Harden would never win an award for fair play if there ever was one. Is it justified? Well, you decide. Many believe that you can hate the game and the rules, but there's no reason for disrespecting a future Hall of Famer. But the James Harden hate doesn't only stop there. One of his former teammates, Chandler Parsons, isn't a big fan of the guard either.
Parsons for three! It's good! And we're going to overtime! Chandler Parsons!
That's because when Parsons left following the 2013-14 season, Harden said that the Rockets had lost only role players. This was his way of reassuring the Houston fans after the exodus. But Parsons was incensed. Having completed a 3-year, $45 million deal with the Mavericks, he spoke out regarding Harden's comment and called it a pretty ridiculous statement and tweeted how certain people should think before they speak. Clearly, there wasn't much love lost between the two teammates. Former NBA champion Kevin McHale also dislikes Harden big time, so it's not just players either. Well, he was the coach of the Rockets back when the team had that players-only meeting in 2015. And one of the unintentional results of that meeting was the firing of McHale only a year into his 3-year contract extension with the Rockets. Now, McHale was a fantastic coach. He had a great 193-130 record in 4 seasons with the Rockets, making the playoffs on all 3 occasions. But the management sided with James on this one and fired McHale.
They said, "You're fired." I went, "Who?" I was like, wow, I really surprised me. I did not think that was the case.
Making him the scapegoat for the Rockets' defensive shortcomings, which were obviously largely because of Harden's poor defensive numbers, putting them 29th in the league. McHale, being McHale, took the firing like a true professional, knowing the symbolic move behind the so-called sacrifice. But his wife didn't go quietly. In fact, she openly blamed Harden in a tweet that was quickly deleted. Either way, the McHales can remain happy knowing that Kevin got his hands on 3 rings, something that Harden's still chasing in the twilight of his career. But another former player who just doesn't like Harden is none other than the 2-time NBA champion Lamar Odom. However, Odom's reasons for disliking Harden are entirely personal and have nothing to do with the sport itself. They actually involve a Kardashian and a love triangle. Dare I say more? Well, to put it briefly, Odom was jealous of Harden because he was dating Khloe Kardashian a few years back. And this was when Odom was still married to Khloe, even though the two were separated, but still living together. Okay, I don't get it, but that's pretty much the gist. That said, personal reasons can also be related to the NBA, as is the case with Dwight Howard, who also isn't a big fan of Harden. This time, though, Harden probably isn't to blame. The two were teammates back in Houston, but they never quite got going. Maybe it was the way Harden played, but as per rumors, it was because Howard didn't enjoy sharing the spotlight with Harden. Look at this battle of the minds, huh? The ringless Kobe and Shaq. However, Dwight Howard would finally win a ring late in his career with the Lakers, thanks to LeBron James, and probably can rub that in Harden's face. Talking about LeBron, though, even the King isn't a fan of Harden. The two even had a bit of a rivalry going on at one point, but they've mainly avoided butting heads over the majority of their careers. Unfortunately, one incident a few years back in 2015 changed that. During a regular season game, LeBron tried to wrestle the ball away from Harden, which led to the Rockets guard falling down. However, Harden reacted by kicking LeBron in the groin.
And then watch the feet here as they go down. That kick there is the one that got James angry.
Which was an ugly thing to do, to say the least. LeBron was furious and even condemned Harden for his actions later, while the 33-year-old received a flagrant 1 foul and was suspended for a game by the NBA too. But I can't possibly end the video without mentioning the Harden-KD feud. Yeah, the 2-time former teammates also have a history of off-court beef between them, with Durant saying that Harden isn't a real basketball player, and Harden clapping back by saying that KD was jealous of his success. That didn't age well, did it, James? However, it was even more hilarious when KD and LeBron picked their teammates ahead of the All-Star game, and KD did everything in his power to avoid picking Harden.
I agree. With Rudy Gobert.
I agree.
That worked out nicely for you.
That worked out nicely. I mean, you can't let people run through the lane and dump.
Who had recently left the Nets. LeBron's reaction was hilarious as he laughed when KD tried justifying his Rudy Gobert pick ahead of Harden. That's all I have on why NBA players really hate James Harden.